So The Scorch Trials by James Dashner, book 2 in the Maze Runner trilogy. I got 40% of the way through, about 40, I think it was about 40% of the way through, and then I put it down, and I have absolutely no intention of picking up. You might say I DNF'd it. I know, this is the first book I have ever intentionally DNF'd. I know, and today guys I'm going to be talking to you about the reasons why I've put it down. It will be spoiler free, so if you haven't started it there's no need to worry. I'm not going to be spoiling anything about it. I'm just going to be talking about why I can't finish it and why I won't finish it. Alright, so these are just a few of my feelings that I had. I don't know what it is about this. Maybe I just didn't notice it in the Maze Runner, but reading the Scorch Trials it just seems more obvious. The writing is really awkward. Some of the way that things are described, and it just doesn't read well, in my opinion. It doesn't read well. I couldn't get on with the writing style, which is weird because I read the Maze Runner quite quickly, so maybe I just didn't notice it as much when I read the Maze Runner, or I'm not sure, but and above it all, he had one image burned into his memories, as strongly as a branded mark from a searing hot iron. Now, I understand the sentence, I get what James was going for, but I think in his efforts to make things seem more dramatic, but something you can relate to, like a pain, a feeling you can imagine, it just seems really awkward. It just, in my opinion, some of you might really enjoy the way that James Dashner writes, but I just find it quite awkward. Another example: engulfed in terror, Thomas opened his eyes and shot to a sitting position on his bed, scooted out until he got his feet under him and jumped up. That is just awkward because it just seems to take a very long time for him to jump out of bed, rather than Thomas opened his eyes, shot into a sitting position and then jumped out of bed. It was he got up, he opened his eyes, sat up, scooted till his feet were under him and then jumped up. It just some of the way he phrases things just seems really awkward to me, and I just didn't get on with it. It didn't help with the flow of the story, and I just didn't get on with it. I didn't get on with it, and I'm sorry. Their made-up vocabulary is probably the thing that just fills me with so much rage more than anything else. For one thing, it's just stupid. It is stupid. It's not even like they made up their own entire language. There's no purpose, there's no reason for this vocabulary to exist. And I can't, and I don't get on with it. I don't get on with it. I don't know where these words have come from. I don't know where they've originated from, why they've started using them. How everyone just sort of accepts that that's the words that they use, and the way they call each other, shook face and shank and slint head, and they tell each other to it just really gets me. It really gets me because I don't know where it's come from. The only word that I accept out of the whole out of these few pointless words that they've implemented into their everyday language, into their everyday speech, is clunk, because I know where that's come from. They've used clunk instead of poo because that's the sound that it makes when it hits the bowl in the toilet, when it hits the toilet bowl. And I get that. That's the only word I accept out of their little vocabulary. I just want to know where they came from. I just don't like it. My mum, I know some people do. My mum, on the other hand, quite likes the language that they use, likes the fact that they've implemented this. Whether it's because I've studied language or what, I don't know, but I like to know where things have come from, why they're using these words. I mean, where did shank come from, and slint head, and did they just sit down and decide between, like, the first people that showed up? Did they just sit down and decide amongst themselves what kind of words they were going to use? I don't. Like, I don't care about the characters. I literally couldn't care. And I say characters, but they all feel and sound like the same person. There seems to be no distinct differences in their personalities, and I don't care about them. Not even Mino from the first book, The Maze Runner. Mino was like the only character I actually liked, and I don't even like him in this, so there was no chance I was gonna care how it all turned out in the end, which is why I stopped, because I just can't care about them. So, I mean, the romance in this series, what it's felt like so far to me, is sort of, you have this whole storyline, this whole world that's been built, and these people and these characters. Dashna has seen like a tiny hole where maybe something could happen, like a tiny gap, where maybe, you know, but maybe he could have a bit of romance in there, and smushed as much of it in as he could. Like, he's just smushed it in where it doesn't need to be. Some books have, their story is built around the romance, so whilst there are other things that are going on, romance is kind of like the main thing. That's cool. There are stories where romance is more of a side, it's just a side thing. The main point is everything that's going on, and maybe over the course of this story the characters gradually find love, maybe, but it's not a big deal, it's not a main thing. Whereas this, it doesn't even make any, it's not needed, it's not necessary, and I don't feel anything for it. So as soon as I see, at the end of Maze Runner, it's sort of, I mean, you have that dread that that's where it's going. Like, you think, oh god, there's gonna be some romance, some love in here, when what it really just needs to be is just good friends. Just good friends with this weird connection. You don't need to make it romantic. And it's not long, and there's a scene in the SCORCH trials that some of you might have found incredibly moving and maybe a little heartbreaking. I found it, I found it pointless, and it sort of angered me. Not angered me, it annoyed me, I think, more than anything. Like, really, they're gonna go down this route? Really? Really? And I have no, actually I just don't care anymore. I have zero, I don't even know what I have zero of. I just don't have any of it. I couldn't give a flying monkey what happens to everybody. So I'm not going to finish it. I am not going to read it. I am officially abandoning the Maze Runner trilogy. I'm sorry, it's just not for me. It's just not for me. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a marvellous day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!